So stress. Is stress really an issue? Or is it just something that employees complain about and employers don't really need to worry about? Well, let me start off with a few statistics. According to Stats Canada, in 2008, stress-related leaves cost employers $12 billion in Canada. So in Canada alone, $12 billion in 1 year due to stress. A lot of people say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Stress is just, part of life. So let me put out another statistic. Estimates, and they are estimates given the climate, we're not 100% sure, but estimates are that presenteeism, the idea of coming to work no matter what, but being present only in body and not in mind, cost businesses an additional 7.5 times what absenteeism costs them. So when you think about that, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars a year in Canada alone related to stress and stress-related absenteeism and presenteeism. That's a lot of money. Spending a small amount to counteract these costs is a worthwhile investment, because not only will you get a return on your investment, you'll actually diminish your costs. What do I mean by this? Well, employers that have higher than average morale outperform their competitors 2.5 times when looked at in publicly traded stock exchanges. That's a ton of money. It's a ton of revenue. It's a ton of credibility with your stockholders. So what do you need to do these things? Is it changing everything you do? Is it stopping work? Is it asking your employees to do less? Not necessarily. It's really about changing the way you operate. One of the main causes of stress is the interrelation between the demand on employees and their control in the workplace. So if you have an employee, low demand, high control, you don't actually have an issue. If you have an employee who has low work demands and low control, you have a little bit of an issue, but not much. Where you have a big concern is where you have high demand in that you're asking a ton out of your employees, and low control. So where you have an employer-focused organization where all the demands are what the employer needs and the employee themselves have absolutely no control about how they do their jobs, when they do their jobs, what their values are, how to perform, what the employer needs, and how they contribute to the organization. Really, what employers need to do is reduce the control. Employers have this mindset thinking that they have to control absolutely every part of an employee's workplace. They have to tell them when to arrive. They have to tell them when to take a break, when they can have lunch, when they can use the phone for personal calls, what they can and cannot look at on the internet, what they can use a photocopier for. There's a list of rules. I've gone into some workplaces and the list of rules that they have is 500 to 600 pages. I mean, nobody looks at that. Instead of focusing on what it is an employee must do, it's much better to focus on what it is they must deliver. Changing your organization to focus on deliverables, to focus in on what it is people do in the organization and how they contribute, as opposed to what it is they look at on the internet and if or not they use their photocopier to photocopy something personal, really yields a ton of value in the organization. I realize that there's some jobs in an organization that are more challenging to do this with, but let's leave those apart from the moment. If an organization is focused on what it is an employee needs to achieve, what it is they need to deliver on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis, the organization can make sure they're getting what it is they need. On the flip side, the employee can then have the control to deliver whatever it is that they need to deliver in the way that they see most appropriate. Yes, there has to be accountability. Yes, this is going to require more management and more proficient management on the part of organizations. However, the end result is enormous. Employees can actually achieve what it is they want to achieve, the reason they've been hired, what it is they were brought into the organization to do. And they can achieve it in the way they see fit. The amount of creativity, productivity, happiness, and reduced stress that you have in your organization as a result of this is immeasurable. And the value itself will be measured in gains time and time again. There's actually no cost to implementing a process like this. There's actually only cost savings. No need for long-winded employee manuals. Yes, you are probably going to need to spend a little bit on management training, but that's an investment that you will receive a return on time and time again.